Hi, everybody. I want to do a video tonight about the three things that's happened in my life that I believe are some of the biggest lies that have been perpetrated by government, or whoever you want to say. But these are things that I experienced as a somebody, just as a observer, and watched and have not believed, and even not believed even more the longer I've analyzed and looked at it and watched videos and so looked at things like this. So the first thing that I never believed was, and I don't care what you think about 9/11 or the attack on the World Trade Center. I mean, I'm not a big person that thinks that Cheney and Bush were someplace in a bunker calling the shots. I don't believe any of that stuff. But the one thing I never did understand was the collapse of Building 7, World Trade Center number 7. And I guess what really got me to really thinking about this, I mean, at the time this all happened, you really didn't question it, you just accepted it. But I was listening to the former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, and they talked about the World Trade Center number 7, and they said that he always said this, and I thought it was a really good line. He said, "I don't know how two planes bring down three buildings," and that's when it started really clicking in my mind. I mean, you have three buildings here. These are large buildings. This is building number 7 is a 47-story building, and of course, these are the World Trade Center, 110 floors. But if a plane hits both of these buildings, how does this building fall down? And I know they say it's just damage, collateral damage from these other two buildings. But if you watch the video, the thing free falls to the ground. It doesn't sort of collapse because of damage. It doesn't part of it kind of fall or pieces of it kind of fall. It just falls to the ground. So I know this is a big subject and people have talked about it a lot, but it's one of the things in my lifetime that never made sense. Building 7, the free fall of Building 7, when two airplanes drop three buildings. Never made any sense to me. Never will. Never has. I don't care how many times you show it to me. I don't care how many times you talk about it. It doesn't make any sense, regardless of whatever else you think about 9/11. I don't care. Just this one event doesn't add up. The second event that never added up, and really the thing that kind of got me to thinking about this video, was that one of the Navy SEALs that was involved with Bin Laden's death had written a book, but now he has to pay back the book because I guess he didn't get it okayed with the Pentagon. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they're worried about these details that he may give. And another thing that's never made sense to me is, why did they dump Bin Laden's body in the ocean? It never made sense to me. Regardless of what you think about the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and the war on terror, this one single event never made any sense to me. Um, and the reasoning behind it was so silly. They said they wanted to comply with the burial, the Islamic law. I think they said something about Islamic law. They had their traditions or whatever. I mean, you're fighting against this whole regime of thinking, and now you turn around and then you kind of think that you need to obey some burial um, traditions after you just got through hunting the guy down and killing him. And the other thing, the guy was one of the most wanted men in the world ever. I mean, he's almost as wanted as Hitler. I mean, he was responsible for 9/11, according to the government. And you think they would keep something from this guy, some of his DNA, maybe some of his remains? Why would they dump him in the ocean? I mean, this never made sense to me. This was completely irrational. I mean, you hunt the guy down, and then the reason for why they never, buried him or put him any place where he could be, his remains were, because they were afraid that people may turn it into a shrine. Like, I'm going to go see Osama bin Laden's body, and I'm going to get converted to being an Islamic terrorist. I mean, does that make any sense at all? Someone's going to go to his place of burial, and all of a sudden they're going to convert. I mean, who cares? The guy's dead. I mean, why do we care? I mean, you would think it would be more important to keep some of his remains for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they, you know, whatever. But I would think that for the most hunted guy in the world, they would probably bring him back and at least display his body or keep some of his remains. But even if they didn't want to do that for whatever reason, but this whole thing of dumping him at sea was just didn't make any sense. Never added up. Never will. I don't know. I don't care what you think about any other events after that. But this one event just never made any sense. And then, of course, the last one that I never thought made any sense was the raid on Waco. I remember this, and I remember pretty vividly because I remember watching it on the TV. And I remember when I was watching this, I thought, what in the world? I mean, there's no doubt that this David Koresh guy was definitely a nut. I mean, he was a complete idiot. You listen to all of his stuff that he was talking about the Seven Seals and all this other stuff, the revelations and all this stuff. The revelation, he was just completely off his rocker. I mean, the guy was a complete nut. But there was a lot of women and children in this building, and I don't care what they say. I will never believe what the official story is as far as what they say. I don't think these Branch Davidians started this fire. I don't know how it got started, but I don't think they started it. And I think that with the amount of government, um, the amount of the ATF and all the other different government agencies that had surrounded this place, that inevitably something bad was going to happen. And the whole siege was completely unneeded. You had one guy that was basically driving this, the guy that was the cult leader. And it would have been so easy just to capture him sometime, when he was shopping or in town or getting supplies or something like that. You didn't have to encircle this whole compound, wait for a windy day, and then somehow, some way, the thing burns, and all these women and children burn with it, and there's a horrible loss of life there. I never did understand this, and I never will, how this all took place and why it took place the way it took place. So anyway, I said they were three biggest lies, but they are probably the three biggest things I don't believe. So I don't know. It is what it is, and I don't care what you think about the police state or all the other things that transpired after this. And this was maybe the beginning of more police being more authoritative or more brutal with the public or citizens. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But these are three events I just never really believed. So and there's a lot of things like there's the JFK thing. There's of course, the war in Iraq with George Bush saying weapons of mass destruction. All that was just BS too. But these are kind of like more just isolated events, not long-term events like the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and the war on terrorism and all that. Those are more long, protracted things. But these are more isolated events, and I just wanted to say that I didn't ever believe them, and I don't think I ever will. So anyway, I appreciate you listening. Thank you very much.